The body is a self-healing machine. What it is it's dislodging that stuck energy, that trauma, and it's releasing it so you can let it go. So everything from just that slow breathing to that intense breathing, it's unbelievable. And also in breathwork sessions, I mean, yes, there's that trauma release, but there are people in my breathwork sessions who sometimes laugh the entire time, or they cry the entire time. It's amazing what gets activated, even creativity. People come out of it and say, now I know what I need to do. I have such clarity on my purpose now.
You've tuned into Leaders with a Mission. My name is Castro, and if you are looking to live a more fun life, ground yourself, find more peace, hack your immune system, or even your nervous system, this show is for you today. Let me introduce you to someone who can help you understand how to hack into something so simple and so common that can transform your life. Her name is Kimberly Faith, and let me tell you a little bit more about her. Kimberly is a fun, creative, and wisdom-rich woman who is a transformational coach, breath worker, and speaker. She is on a mission to activate people to feel seen, heard, valued, and loved by giving them back access to the transformative power of mindful breathwork. With you, Kimberly.
That was so great. Thanks for writing that. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here, my love.
Oh, so excited to be here.
When I was thinking about you for this episode, I really wanted to give people access to having their power back. And I know that you are so alive into that. Like even your self-expression is about that, is how people can access the full version of themselves.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit before we even go into that, so that people get to know you a little bit better. What inspired you to become a breathwork practitioner?
So I was actually at a retreat with you, and we were told that we're going to be doing this thing called breathwork that's supposed to take you to altered states of consciousness. And it's, whoa, and I'm thinking, wow, this sounds cool. This is all, I'm going all in. And there's a group of about 8 of us, and we got into this thing called breathwork, and I was launched into outer space. I had wild visions. I had this vision of me morphing into a lioness. And I felt like I was being called to step into my power and my courage. And it was so wild and mind-blowing. I got out of the experience like, everybody needs to do breath work. I'm like, that was awesome. So 3 weeks later, I flew across the world. I researched all this breath work, flew across the world, got certified as soon as possible, just so I could bring this medicine to people as soon as possible.
Oh my God. That is commitment. That is clarity of purpose. That is like everything in. And I don't have this here, but I'm being called to do this. Yeah. I witnessed you give a talk once upon a time. And in this talk, you brought a story that is so powerful. I know exactly that you know what I'm talking about. I would love for you to share that story with us as concise as possible in a way that people can connect to just breathe.
To just breathe. Taking a breath before I share this story.
Beautiful.
So I have a niece named Charlotte. She is my first niece, my first of all my nieces and nephews, and her and I are so close. So close. Her and I are like the adventuresome ones, like the super fun. And I live across the country, but I would fly out there so we could do birthdays together and play and whatever. Well, when she was 2, a week before she turned 2, she was diagnosed with a very rare form of cancer. And it was a brutal battle, from chemo to radiation to immunotherapy to 2 stem cell transplants, just year after year after battling. And it was just eating her alive, literally. And so what I started doing was I started donating platelets, because it's almost 100% guaranteed that platelets go to cancer patients. So that was very important to me, because cancer now has a very close, near and dear place in my heart. So what I would do, and she would call me Mimi, and she would call needles a pinch. So it was her cute little 6-year-old way. So she was fighting 2 to about 6. And one time I pulled into the blood bank and I called her and we were FaceTiming. And I said, Charlotte, Mimi's really scared about getting her pinch. Do you have any advice for her? And she said, Mimi, just breathe. is after I'm already a breath worker. And I took that and I was like, oh my gosh. So, I went in and I got that needle and just breathe. And then the next couple days, I was talking to one of my coaches about it. We were having a discussion and it hit both of us that just breathe is so much bigger. The pinch is so much bigger. Like life pinches everyone. It's not just a needle going into your arm. It's you get pinched financially. When people get divorced, it's a relational pinch, or lose a job, it's financial, or a health diagnosis like Charlotte. Life pinches you. That's just what happens. And what's most important is to remember in those moments to just breathe. And then about a month after she told me that just breathe, she was in the hospital and she wrote in her own handwriting, just breathe, with her name Charlotte. And when I first shared this story, when you first heard it, she had just passed, and we're coming up on the year mark of her anniversary of her graduation into heaven. And my mission is to use this message of just breathe, which perfectly ties into breathwork, and remind people that no matter what you're going through, whether it's trauma or even joyful things, to remember to just breathe, because our breath is our life.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And that's such a beautiful yet so powerful story. And it's so easy to remember. And then I talked about the most simple and so common, but is yet a hack, right? Talk to us about why breathwork and how breathwork becomes a hack to access more vitality, more health, more groundiness, like more fun. Tell us about that.
Well, there's so much from breathing techniques, which are very, very simple, to a breathwork session like what I do. The simple breathing techniques is when people learn these simple things like inhaling through their nose and exhaling through their mouth for just extended, making their exhale longer than their inhale. What that does is it hacks the nervous system. So in theory, you have your sympathetic nervous system, which is fight or flight, and your parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest, heal, restore, digest. They're supposed to, like, whenever this gets activated, then this takes over and calms you down. So in a perfect world, they're supposed to work together like this. Unfortunately, in today's society and our crazy lives and all the chaos and everything going on, the sympathetic nervous system just and the parasympathetic never can catch up. So people never are living, they're constantly living in this place of stress and chaos, and they're getting sick and they're wondering, what's wrong with me? Well, their parasympathetic nervous system never gets to do its job. We don't take the time to take those breaths to allow that parasympathetic nervous system, which when you do that, when you do that for a few times, what it does, even right now I felt it, it sends a message to my brain that everything is okay. You are safe. You're good. So that's one way, using your breath to bring you back to that grounded place, like you were saying, to remove stress and anxiousness and all that. And on the other hand, for all of us who have experienced traumas, because people think traumas are big things. They think it's, a death or a loss or whatever. Trauma is just a Greek word for wound. And we all have hundreds upon thousands of wounds, whether we like it or not. Like, if someone teased us on the playground, there's a little wound, little wound, little wound. So when we do breathwork sessions where we go deep with much more intense breathing and breath holds and all that, what that does, because we store traumas throughout our body. So when we activate the breath and get into a breathwork session, what that does is it starts to unearth and dislodge all this stuck energy and all this stuck trauma. What it does is it peels back the onion layers one by one of these traumas. So people are in a breathwork session, they're experiencing all these crazy physical sensations. And what that is the body doing what it knows to do. The body is a self-healing machine. What it is it's dislodging that stuck energy, that trauma, and it's releasing it so you can let it go. So everything from just that slow breathing to that intense breathing, it's unbelievable. And also in breathwork sessions, yes, there's that trauma release, But there are people in my breathwork sessions who sometimes laugh the entire time. And they come out of it and they're like, I didn't know how bad I needed that. Or they cry the entire time and they say, I don't even know why I was crying. I just know I had to release that. So it's amazing. It's amazing what gets activated, even creativity. People come out of it and say, now I know what I need to do. I have such clarity on my purpose now. Wow. So you never know what's going to happen. It's kind of a game. What's going to happen today when we activate the breath?
That is so amazing. And to me, it's more of like, this is such a, if people believe in God or heaven or spirits or whatever, it's like the first thing we do when we come to this earth is to
take a breath.
And the last thing we do when we leave this earth is
yes. Yes.
So it just feels like such a underestimated access to source, to wisdom. Mm-hmm. And like, even sometimes we don't notice when we're like holding the breath. You're like, because we get scared. And it, like, and our body is like just trying to prepare for like what's going on. Or even when we get anxious, like breath is the one thing that let us know if we're safe, if we're supposed to do, be and like looking out for something. So what hacks, what tips do you have for someone who may be interested in accessing this beautiful power source?
I would say just to start off before, you could always do a breathwork session. That'll rock your world. But if you want to start simple and some people are a little intimidated of the idea of just going like into full intense breathing for like an hour. So to start small, first start to acknowledge your breath. Like when you're breathing, if you were to put a hand on your tummy and a hand on your chest and just take a few breaths and pay attention to what rises first, your tummy or your chest. Because most people I find, especially newbies to my breathwork classes, I have them do that exercise. Most people breathe here. They're stressed. When people are stressed, they breathe here. Okay. So the more we can pull into our diaphragm and breathe through our belly, then let it rise to the chest. Then let it come out of our mouth. That right there, huge, huge biohack. Because there's a lot of stuck oxygen that stays in our gut. We don't want that. That's gross.
Okay. But wait, you say that? I remember someone we know in common, Dr. Aaron, which if you haven't watched that episode, please watch it, Dr. Aaron.
It's a great episode.
I remember when I did this session with him, he was asking me to breathe and I didn't have access. I couldn't breathe from my heart.
Yes.
I was stuck. Like, I was like, what do you mean breathe from your, like, what? He's like, just notice, I was only breathing, I could feel the breath through my stomach only.
Not through your heart.
But not through my heart. So he's like, can you try to connect both? He was like, first breathe to your heart, then breathe. And I was like, hold on. I'm like, I can't do this. I'm like trying to like, who disconnected this side of me? Like, can we get plugged in? So it's really eye-opening to me that you say that most people, beginners, are more breathing through their heart. Like I'm like, that wasn't me. What does that
not through
mean?
their heart. I would say their chest.
Their chest. Okay,
like and that's very different than like I would say your heart. So that's a simple hack. And also breathing in through the nose. When you're sitting at your office and just like typing, breathing in and out the nose. The nose is a natural filtration system. And what it does is it generates 11 times more nitric oxide, which is the most powerful antioxidant out there. More powerful than all the pomegranate seeds that you can eat. Breathing through your nose, that nitric oxide. So when you breathe in and out your nose, just real gently, just when you're at peace, it's so healthy for you. So many people, and also like you said, when people are stressed, they forget to breathe. It's like, and they don't even realize. I hear from hundreds of people all the time. They're like, what I realized is I just forget to breathe. I stop breathing.
Yeah. And it's like you tell people, I'm going to go to a breath session. What do you do there? Breathe? Like, don't you do that every day? Like, you're like, yeah, but it's Like, listen, you gotta come to a breathing.
And people they don't even know what they're getting into. And that's what I love, because I feel that breath work, it's such a powerful modality. And it's kind of trendy right now. Like luckily I got in on the game early on, but I feel like it's trending more. However, most people that come to my classes, I'd say at least 80% of them still have never done breath work before. And they think they're going to come in and be like, no.
What can people expect? Like, what are let's demystify what it is to have a breathing session, because it's different for everyone.
Yes. So that great question. So some of the things that people didn't know that they would experience during a breathwork session is a lot of body sensations. You are hyper-oxygenating the body. So some of the things you may experience are your claw hands. I call them claw hands. The technical word is tetany. I call it claw hands. It's funner. Or T-Rex hands. Some people feel like they're levitating. Some people feel like they are glued to the ground. Cramps, Charlie horses, tingling. My face sometimes goes like, and when I do breath work, all of that is normal. I tell people in my classes, when that happens, that means you're doing it right. Keep doing it. The body is just sending healing to whatever part of the body needs healing. So that's one of the things. Another thing is breath holds. People think, I can't hold my breath. Like actually, they do by mistake, but an actual intentional one, I can't do that. Well, that's magic when you do breath holds in my sessions, because what we do is we actually exhale all the air out of our lungs and we hold our breath with no air in the lungs, which people are like, what? Because when they think of holding their breath, they think, no. With no air in the lungs, what it actually does is it raises your CO2 tolerance, which awakens the stem cells that hide out in your bone marrow. And it sends healing to your body wherever your body needs healing. So that's really cool. There's a lot of physical sensations. Some people, just a lot of emotion just washes over them, crying. Some people have a very somatic experience, which is why we call it somatic breath work. Soma means body. So some people are moving the whole time or kicking. I've had people stand up in my classes and start stomping with a blindfold on. Not recommended.
It's okay. There's a safe space.
It is a safe space. I make sure everyone is safe. Everything we do is safe. But a lot of people have these experiences that they just want to move. And I encourage them and invite them, allow your body to do what it wants to do. Let the breath drive the bus. This is an experience about turning your mind off and getting 100% in your body. This isn't about the mind. The breath knows how to go deeper than the mind. So we get it too.
I remember when I was pregnant, so I couldn't do all the work. I would see everybody do the fun work and I'm like, I'm missing out.
Oh.
Why is it not safe for pregnant women to do breath work?
That is an excellent question. Because when you're doing that really powerful rhythmic breathing, it could induce labor prematurely. Not good.
Not something we're looking for.
Not something we're looking for at all.
So it's just so powerful that this happens, and like what happened to you could have like visions, it's just a very powerful way of accessing parts of us.
Yes.
And not necessarily to like activate, but even to like
oh my gosh,
slow down. When I get into calls with my clients, I usually open the call with, do you mind if we do a breathing exercise? And some people are like, yes. Usually my people are like, hell yeah. Some people are like, okay. I'm like,
I'll try.
But then after like, we're rushing to get into a call, but like being able to like, let's slow down and like, once we're like present to each other without like I just arrived to the call.
Yes.
It feels so good. I don't know. Every single one that experiences that, if it's like, this is a really weird way to start a call, but I'm so glad you did that, because it just gave me a moment to like slow down.
Connect.
Just be present. Yes. So everyone who comes to this show, every single one answers this question. What is your personal definition of leadership?
I would say living by example, living boldly, unapologetically by example, and not worrying about what people say, if they're going to be a hater, knowing and standing and living in your truth and integrity. that is true leadership, because people will follow. You're just following your true north.
That is so powerful.
Mm.
And what do you often do or read to feel your soul and your mind?
To feel my soul, I read a lot. This is a tricky question. I read a lot of personal development books, and I'm a Christian. So like, to me, my ultimate true north is the Bible. You know, it's not something I push on people. It's just, for me, what grounds and what brings me back to center.
I love it. And I wonder, is there anything that I haven't asked you that you wish people knew about breathwork that you would like to share with them?
I love that. I think people should just give it a try, because you never know what's going to happen. And also, I want people to know that every single time is always going to be different. And it's always going to be powerful, but it's never going to deliver to you the experience you're like, I want to go after this. I want this breathwork session to bring me this gift. No, it will bring you what you need. And it's always mind-melting.
Beautiful. Where can people find more of you? Where can people have access to you?
Yes. So if you go to thebreathworkgirl.com, not breathwork girl, thebreathworkgirl.com. And yes, I got that domain. I thought that was a very exciting day. There's all of my email address, all my social media. I do free virtual classes every month. So there's a lot. If you want to try breathwork for the first time, if you've never done it before, you can just hop on to one of those intro classes and we can breathe together. But everything's at thebreathworkgirl.com.
I love it. I love it, love it, love it, love it. I know you do experiential things. I know, and you're so much fun. Like, hello.
Fact, that is one thing about my breathwork sessions. Like, some people are like, oh. I'm like, yeah, let's get into it. Let's dance. Let's play. So, you know, the work, capital T, capital W, doesn't have to be like hard. It can be fun. It can be playful.
Yeah, you're all about play, and I love that about you. So thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for flying all the way from, Vegas to Miami to just be with us. I so appreciate you, and I love your energy, and hugging you is like just a burst of pure fun, because you're so freaking amazing and such a beautiful human, and I am so glad that I get to call you my friend. Thank you so much.
And I love those hugs too.
I love you. All right, my friends, so that it is. If you want access to more peace, less stress, you know where to find it. It's in your breathwork. And if you're looking to amplify your mission and your voice and your impact with the power of video, I'm going to ask you to please visit us at forproductions.com. All right. So I'll see you in the next one.